right now we're on our CX panel discussion on how AI will shift customer experience to the next level. Well, one technology trend that has caught everyone's attention in recent years is the way AI is evolving. Its disrupting nature has given its enormous potential with countless applications. Amongst the many possibilities that AI promises, CX seems to be completely overhauled. Well, this panel discussion will aim to cover on how we champion digital inclusion to reach a variety of customer segments in the post-COVID-19 world, why chatbots and AI have the potential to transform CX provision for the better, how AI and data analytics improve customer experience, understanding where AI-powered solutions will make the greatest impact on your customer experience and business bottom line, key lessons and wider CX implications for future, how AI ML RPA applied to improve customer experience, addressability, which looks at best practices for offline-online integration, data monetization, AI techniques to support Omni-Channel, customer and dealer journeys, and much more. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're elated to have our eminent panelists joining us. First up, Ruby Wolff, Aramex CIO, CEO. Well, Ruby, he's an experienced operations and IT executive who has demonstrated the ability to lead and develop diverse team of professionals to new levels of success within the fast-paced environment. Thank you so much, Ruby, for joining us today live. Thank you for that. Welcome to the World AI Show.
Thank you for having me, and welcome to everybody joining. The first question that was posed through to me was, how do we create...
I'll just do the other panelists as well. Let's just get them on quickly. So we've also got on the other side, William Yeoh, from Associate Professor, Deakin University. Well, William is a leading researcher in the business analytics field and has appeared in the top-ranked journals such as Decision Support Systems. In 2020, he was also named amongst the top 25 analytical leaders in Australia by the Institute of Analytic Professionals of Australia. Thank you so much, William, for joining us today. William, you're on mute.
Hello, yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks.
Pleasure. Thank you so much, William. We also have Oleg Kravitz, Global Head of Data Analytics, the Travel Corporation. With a background in data analytics, finance and commerce, his career expands over several industries, including tourism, energy, and retail. Thank you so much, Oleg, for joining us and giving us your valuable time.
Yeah, hi, Bhavana. Thank you, and thank you for having me. Welcome to everyone.
Pleasure. We also have Amir H. Gandomi, the Professor of Data Science, University of Technology, Sydney. Professor Gandomi has published over 200 journal papers and 7 books, which collectively has been cited 2,000 plus times and has been named as one of the most influential scientific minds and highly cited researcher for 4 consecutive years from 2017 to 2020. Thank you so much, Amir, for joining us today and giving us your valuable time.
Hello, everybody, and thanks for having me.
Pleasure. And ladies and gentlemen, the moderator of this session, we've got Angela Kim, Head of Analytics and AI, Teachers Health Fund. Well, with more than 15 years of experience in the banking and insurance industry, Angela works with multiple organizations to promote diversity, inclusion in technology, and ethics, fairness, and responsibility in AI. Thank you so much, Angela, for joining us today.
Such a pleasure to be here today. Thank you.
So, well, with this, I'd request our eminent panelists to please join us with the video on, all of you on the screen at one go. Let's have a great discussion with Angela moderating it. Angela, once again, a big thank you for moderating it, and a big welcome to William, Amir, Ruby, and Oleg. Thank you for joining us at the World AI Show Australia. Let's keep the smile going and let the knowledge keep pouring at the World AI Show. Over to you, Angela.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's panel discussion. As discussed briefly, we have a really amazing, esteemed panelist today in such an honor and privilege to have this very meaningful conversation about how AI will shift customer experience to the next level. It seems like since Netflix and Uber and the customers' expectation has increased dramatically. So they expect, really that high standard of, really smooth, frictionless, customer experience on digital platform as well as, offline platform as well. So without further ado, I'd like to move on to the amazing topics that we want to discuss today. So firstly, to begin with, we want to discuss about how can we champion digital inclusion to reach a variety of customer segments in post-COVID-19 world. How about, I'd like to pass on to Ruby to share, your opinion and your perspective, please.
Thank you, Angela, and hello to everybody. I think just to keep it quite simple, and I'll try to keep it in a business component, the way we try and educate our teams is the first port of call is to really create this culture of customer experience through digital tools. I mean, if you look around and if you're in a metro city, most people live on their mobile phone nowadays, which has technically made us into a cyborg. Just not the same version of it that we saw in the movies in the early 90s. But it's really to empower people and give them an understanding of the world is now digital. How do we enhance that, and how do we actually leverage off of that digital component to create a better customer experience? So one of our pillars in our business strategy, and we only have 4 key deliverables, one of those is customer experience and a focus on customer experience over 2021 and 2022. The second port of call is to make sure that we have collaboration with the right partners. So are you collaborating with the likes of Microsoft? Are you collaborating with AWS and their tools, Zendesk, MessageBird, Twilio, whatever it may be, but find the right business partners that use these tools that enhance your customer experience. You don't have to try to keep it all in-house. The right partnerships really help you move forward a lot quicker. And probably the third point of the 5 points that I'll list is really understanding your customer and the needs of your customer. If you don't understand your customer, you're going to probably give them the wrong solutions. So spending time to understand them is a key component. Point 4 is making sure that it's really easy to use. Again, people spend a lot of time texting. So using Omni-Channel platforms through WhatsApp or Messenger, etc., and automation tools through those components really helps improve that customer experience. And then probably last but not least, at the last end of it, is having well-trained support staff and staff that believe in this journey as well. So if a customer does hit a problem, make sure that the support staff at the end of the line really understand your products, they understand the tools that exist within your ecosystem, and they can really give that customer that real experience, the human experience at the end of it. So there's the digital, but there's also this human experience that sits at the end. And those are really the 5 simple components that we use within our business to try and educate people and to really get them to embrace this journey, because it is scary for a lot of people, but it's exciting for others, and it's about controlling and managing that pace.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Ruby. I think you really rightly touched on all these different aspects when it comes to customer experience. I really liked about your comment about, at the end of the day, human and the goal in mind, and how can we serve the, community, the members and citizens better, right? And also partnering with the right, tech, providers, right? So knowing what you have internally, and you don't have to start scratch if you have already, right? So really understanding what to borrow and what to lend and what to really, improve internally, because you have a long-term goal, and how to really digitize all these, touch point, and how to drive the value to really make the, friction and the painful, pain point going away for our customers, right? So I do really appreciate your all comment about, it's very important, and especially it's really highlighted after COVID, because everyone's almost like forced into digital platform, and all the seniors are talking about, flatten the curve and Zoom call, all the virtual, tools, and everyone's really became very, digital, the literate, in terms of, transform into a new world, right? So Ruby, I think there was a really amazing point. Unless other panelists I'd like to, add to this point, I'd like to move on to the next topic area. We want to really hear from William why chatbots and AI have the potential to transform CX provision for the better. And from your experience and your professional experience from Deakin University, I think William has a great story to share with us today. Please, go ahead, William, please.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Angela. Yeah. Well, at Deakin University, we have a mobile app called Deakin Genie App. Yeah. Deakin Genie App is a so-called personalized digital assistant for students, so that we can better engage our students and improve their learning experience, and also provide them with 24/7 student support services. So like Deakin, we have nearly 60,000 students, and about a quarter of them, they are actually online students or club students. So these students are everywhere. So now with the Deakin Genie app, the student can just ask typical questions like when is my next assignment due date? Or every morning, the student can just ask the Genie app, today, when is my classes? Okay, so they can get to know the timetable and everything, with just a mobile app. Then also the same, if say they would like to look for the nearest bus stop, or the lecture room, or the lecturer's consultation time, all kind of questions, they can just ask through the app, and then the app would know who they are. So the app can also provide them personalized service, because they know who you are and anticipate their questions. So if there's an assignment due date coming out, the student will get notified. If there's a new announcement from the lecturer, the student will get notified as well. So you can see with this 24/7 mobile app, and also this kind of a personalized learning experience, we can actually improve the customer, which is the students' experience. So that's why chatbot, chatbot, of course, and also the AI behind, the analytics behind, as the whole package, it can enhance the student experience, or also called customer experience. Yes.
Fantastic. Actually, thank you so much for sharing that, William, because you've kindly provided a link before the this panel discussion. So sneakily, I went to the website and checked Genie out, and I was quite impressed. I'd like to have a Genie assistant like that for me, because as a mom and professional and working with Australian, the partners as well as global partners, I go around the clock. So I have a meeting sometimes midnight, 4 a.m., all over the places. And I'm thinking, if I have a Genie assistant, personal assistant, tell me, oh, Angela, do this. Don't forget, you have to pick up Joshua from soccer, training, something like that. Yeah. I think I was quite amazed about how it's really driving the new learning experience through digital platform, William. I saw that, how it's really leading you. Oh, by the way, you got this assignment due. Why don't you go to a website? Do you want me to go to Google Doc? Do you want me to go to this document? And reminding and guiding and personalized experience, right?
Yeah, fantastic. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Perhaps,
yeah.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm thinking, so how long has it been the project was on? How long did it take to kick off the project? May I ask?
Yeah, about a couple of years now. Yeah.
Wow. So it's been there, for a while.
About 3 years now, and it has also received a number of recognitions and awards. Yeah. If you Google Deakin Genie, you will see a list of awards and things like that. It is probably one of the first of its kinds in the world. And a personalized digital assistant to students. Yeah.
That's right. Amazing. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that, William. I think if audiences and the panelists, later on, please let's check it out, to see what it can do. There was quite really amazing example of how chatbot can actually transform the customer experience. But that also highlights is chatbot framework, the algorithm embedded, is it really considered diverse and inclusive, the demographic, because it's again brings back the important talk about have we considered all different demographics and the background to create really non-biased data, to create non-biased algorithm.
Yes. Since you mentioned this point, Yeah. So also it can detect the student current location, and then let's say the student asking for where is the lecture hall for this one. Yeah. Then the app will guide the student. Yeah. So there are a few pathway to reach there. So yeah, it has this kind of features. And also there's a health insurance company actually approached Deakin, and they have actually now customized the Genie app for their health. Customers. Yeah, so you can see we can actually customize this for other customer experience purpose. Yes.
Amazing, amazing. So that brings us to next point. I think you kind of touched on already, but if there's any comment you'd like to add on how AI and data analytics improves customer experience.
Yes, that's a very fantastic question. To me, chatbot is actually an interface. It's a great user-friendly interface. But the engine behind analytics and AI, yeah, which is the magic. I call it the magics. Yeah. So me as a business analytics researcher, so we have been studying, this the usefulness of analytics. So you see, in the good old days, people have to gather data, collect data. But now with analytics, yeah, we can focus more on identifying, like say, the customer's behavior, the sales pattern, yeah, the so-called column-based, analysis, yeah. So get the pattern. So the same. So we can then analyze the students' sentiments, or any hot topics, that students are concerning, yeah, or anything that within the campus, for example. And of course, the same, for our customer like Coles or Wolff, yeah, they can do similar thing with this kind of analytics. They can get to know, yeah, the customer sentiments. So and therefore, so what means we can provide better personalized and customized service to our customers, because when the customer calls us to our call center, yeah, we can get to know this is our customer, and then pull out all their personal info, and then this is the call center record, yeah. The customer has been talking about this, ABC. So now we can anticipate their problem and then also give them a proactive solution. Okay, yeah. So that kind of interactive, personalized service. So analytics can help this, because analytics has all this insight. So that is in terms of customer experience, analytics, how it can deliver value not only to the customer, but of course overall to the bottom line of the company as well. Yeah. So yeah.
That's amazing point. William, thank you. I really like the comment when you said we can anticipate. So that means we are really, our attitude and the way we are serving our customers is empathetical. That means we are try to understand customers' problems, right? Because at the end of the day, technology is not for technology. Technology is for human being and people, right? And human-centered AI to really promote that. I think this kind of purpose and vision is highly appreciated by broader audience and community as well. So William, thank you so much for sharing your amazing insights and your perspectives. I'm really enjoying this, by the way. So I'm excited to hear other panelists' amazing opinions. So why don't we move on to now the next topic point? So we have amazing Oleg online and ready to share all this, amazing, the topic discussion. So understanding where AI-powered solutions will make the greatest impact on your customer experience and business bottom line. So I'd like to, have a meaningful conversation with Oleg about this. So Oleg, where to start? Can you kindly elaborate about, what's your opinion about this topic, please?
Yeah, thanks, Angela. It's a great question, and if I had the 100% answer to it, then yeah, we would have probably all made $1 million. So it's very challenging to find the silver bullet, and it probably doesn't exist. Obviously, companies are different, industries are different, and as William said, the assistant makes total sense for their customers or for their students on the campus, but it might have a little bit less use for some other companies. So the real question is that you as data leaders or data executives in your companies will have to figure out your own path. And even though there are some industry trends, or you can look at some examples, it is up to you to figure out what will work best for your own company and what will deliver the biggest benefits. But there are some pointers that you can use in order to be successful on this path. And how we approach it in the travel corporation, and we are a travel company and we have about more than 40 brands, so it's quite complex in our setup, and different brands participate at different levels. But we approach it, we have kind of 3 areas where we look to answer that question. Number 1 is actually where to start, and I'm a big believer in having a data and analytics strategy, and on the more complicated level, even have a separate AI strategy. That ties up to what Ruby said at the beginning, that there is business strategy, but you need to take it further into the data analytics strategy. Why you're doing data projects? Why are you doing analytics projects? What are the benefits? And then having a separate AI strategy, understanding what you can do and what needs to be done for your business, and having discussions with other business stakeholders and trying to understand what will help solve problems. And as you, Angela, quite well pointed out, that we're not doing technologies for the sake of technologies. We're doing them to solve business problems and deliver business benefits to the business. So ask questions of your business teams, be it marketing or sales or in finance. What are the main pain points and how you can help with an AI solution? And you as an expert will be able to help them out on the journey. But I think the most critical part for me is behind every data and analytics initiative should be a real business benefit. And essentially, you can only have 2 types of business benefits. It's either increase in sales or reduction in costs. Everything else ties to that. Improved customer experience, that's great. But if it doesn't bring dollars, like, you need to tweak something. Anyway, so that's 2 main points: where to start, look at the strategy and start from it to understand your best path to success, and then work with the business to deliver outcomes for business teams. And don't have data teams working in isolation, which might happen if you kind of try to take more academic approach. Just work with the business on it. And one last thing that I wanted to point out that ties to what we do, I'm a strong believer in the speed of delivery. So do a quick POC, see if it works, try your best to make it work, but it doesn't, bin it and move on to the next initiative. Really, you can't spend like 2-3 hours or 2-3 years on something that doesn't work. There are multiple use cases available, and just try to get quick wins. And then obviously, if you can find a path to improve it, work for it. So don't jump between projects. I'm not saying that, but just do a quick POC. If it works, it works. Like, we had one of the best AI ideas what to do in our company. We tested it, and we found that just at this stage we don't have the data for it. So no point for us spending more time on it, or no point of us trying to build it out. Move on to the next where you have data and where you can deliver business benefits at some kind of manageable time scale. So that's quick summary from me. And there is unfortunately no silver bullet. If someone comes up with it, it would be great.
We'll be sharing that, obviously. Thank you so much, Oleg. That's amazing point. You've really rightly pointed out all the important facts about, we need to be agile, and also there's no like one size fits all solution, right? So which means what worked for Google or Amazon doesn't necessarily mean that it applies to you. Because going back to Oleg's amazing point, think about what we are doing, why you are doing, and who we are doing for, right? So have that mindset to begin with, and be nimble, right? Agile, because you don't want to sit on the data for many weeks, and then after many months even, and then realize, oh, we don't have data for this, so we can't do this, right? So have a mini pilot, almost like a startup mindset, and run it. If you fail it, learn from it, and really test and learn, right? And creating that kind of mindset. And also do not be siloed, of course, right? So it's very interesting, because people are talking about by 2030, 80% of the jobs will be based on technology and AI, which means a lot of mundane, repetitive tasks will be automated. So people are worried about our jobs are disappearing, but at the same time, new jobs will be appeared, which means we have to think about how to upskill, and prepare that, because the human intelligence is always most important, right? So we need to find out new roles, for example, in data area, we need kind of, data scientists, engineers, and business people. We might need some bridging roles to really actually speak the both sides language, right? Almost like a data analytics translator role, orchestrator role, who can understand both worlds and try to work with both teams to really deliver the project, really smoothly, and try to assist both teams to move the project, in agile manner and deliver the positive outcome, right? So I think it all kind of sync with the amazing point, or like you've mentioned. I'd like to move on to the next topic about key lessons and wider CX implications for the future. So Oleg, please, share your insights and perspective, please.
Yeah, thanks, Angela. It's another great question, and everyone probably has their own opinion on that, and it's hard to again know what's gonna be beneficial in 2-3 years time, and we've learned it hard way in 2020. But looking at current trends and looking at what's happening, I kind of pointed out 3 things for myself, and they are not something like that you don't know, it will be a revelation to you, but something just to keep your attention on. Number 1, obviously, e-commerce and digital approach is the new norm. It has already become the new norm, but it has to be part of the wider online and offline strategy. If you have the great online or great website, but then it doesn't tie up to people calling into your call center, which is relevant for us in travel business, your customer experience will not be the best it can be. So what we are working in travel, we're working, and I think most companies are now working on, is actually tying the entire customer experience through all the channel into the one flow, because customer expect it. And yeah, fortunately or unfortunately, we have Amazon, we have Google, we have Netflix, and you have to move up to that standard, because once a customer gets something that they like, they will try to expect it from everywhere. So yeah, just wrap everything into the one customer experience journey, or try your best to do it. And digital is definitely now the main part of it. Number 2, new challenges will arise. With COVID, we know that something that no one expected happened, and this will keep happening. Maybe, hopefully, we at least travel hope that not at that scale, but new challenges will arise every time you move on. It can be the natural disasters, or it even can be your competition moving on faster than you. So be ready for the challenges. And COVID taught us that we can turn around things in a very quick time, in time that before we haven't thought it was possible. But keeping that approach in your regular day-to-day business will help you succeed. And the third one, continuous investment and improvement. Don't sit on your laurels. If you have best in the industry now, it doesn't mean that tomorrow you'll still be having it if you don't continue improving. So do your best, small improvements. I'm again a believer in moving slowly, but having continuous improvement cycle, and work on it. Again, if you have the best system in the world, it might not be the best tomorrow. So working continuously on improving, even if you think you're already at the very high level, because the future and customer expectation will always shift into more complex, and more, they will always ask for more. That's just human nature. So yeah, that's again a quick summary for me on what lessons we've learned from COVID and what future might bring for us.
Thank you so much, Oleg. That's amazing viewpoint, and I think everyone really resonates with Oleg's all these valid points. Now, I'd like to move on to next topic. Very interesting topic. I'd like to hear view and perspective from Ruby. So, how AI ML RPA, so robotic process automation, apply to improve customer experience. So, Ruby, would you kindly share your view on this topic, please?
Absolutely. And I think I can probably iterate a lot of what Oleg has said as well, in terms of it either has to add value via revenue, or it has to add value by being a cost benefit. When you look at AI or ML or RPA, it's kind of like sort of 3 or 4 years ago, you had all CEOs just talking about big data. We want to have big data, but no one really understood what it was. And this is kind of like the new coin word. So you'll sort of step into office and the CEO will knock on the door into the IT team or into the operations teams and say, we need AI to fix all of our problems, and machine learning and RPA and all these things. And I'm like, whoa, slow down, buddy. You really have to define each of what they are and what value they add, because AI and ML and RPA are all three different things. Yes, there's complements that happen between them, but they all do very different things. And it's really, again, make sure people in the business understand the difference between them. And again, back to a lot of the other comments, what Oleg is said is, how can we use AI in customer experience? Well, we can actually do that with our customer service agent by automating repetitive tasks. So in our business, being a logistics company, one of the most common tasks we have or requests we have is, please, can I have an update on my parcel? So then all you do is you automate the tracking processes so that they don't have to ask a human for it. And I'm talking really basic, but that again gives somebody a lot of free time to do something else. What do they do with that free time? They spend more time with the customer and try to upsell the customer or give them a better experience, therefore generating revenue, or we need less customer service people on the desk. So those are the two benefits for that. So I think point one is really defining the difference between AI and machine learning and RPA, and then how can I apply those in my business, if I can at all, and then come back to a speed of delivery component. You really have to have a design thinking mindset, which says, let me design, get a problem, find a problem statement or define the problem statement, get a quick solution, put in a prototype, don't get emotionally attached to it. If it works, carry on. If it doesn't work, throw it away and move on to the next thing. You got to kiss a lot of frogs before you find a prince, is a very good saying in this kind of stuff. Once you sort of define all of those and you have problem statements, and we'll talk a little bit about AIs, what processes are the most common processes that exist in your business, and which are the most repetitive tasks? Identify them. Go sit with people that sit on the customer service desk and say, give me a list of the email inquiry you get the most every single day. And you'd be surprised what information you get back from that. Then you look and say, can I automate this through certain technology? If you can, awesome. But then clearly define what are you going to do with the rest of that person's time so they add value back to the business. In machine learning, again, and Oleg, you touched on this, you guys came up with a great idea, but you didn't have the data, you didn't have all the data for it. So understand what the problem is. Do you have that data set? And then you have to clearly define both your inputs and your outputs, depending on what you want. But in early stages, you have to define both of them. Otherwise, you're just going to get a whole lot of nonsense and confuse a lot of people. You'll invest money and then the CEOs will move on to the next thing and you're going to fail to get funding into your department or budget funding again. So those are probably the simple things that I would always look for is make sure you have the definition of each of them. Make sure you have a problem statement. Can I apply them in the business? What value are they going to add? And once you get into that cycle, you naturally gain new talent. People want to come and work. They get curious and they say, I want to come work in these departments or be part of this project because I can see value in the business. The fail fast or speed to delivery methodology is the best in this industry or in this sort of market space at the moment if you want to get adoption in your business.
Fantastic, fantastic. I really like your comment, Ruby, that, you can complement each other, right? So sometimes people can't really distinguish between AI and ML and RPA, right? And, like big data, everyone's talking about it because everyone's talking about it because you want to be part of it. But we need to really clearly understand what's the business problem and tie the technology and the methodology and the skills, into it and try to have a very clear the vision and journey mapped out so that, we can deliver really positive outcome. Thank you so much, Ruby, for sharing the amazing perspectives on this topic. I'd like to now hear Amir about evolutionary intelligence for industries and business. Amir will be kindly walk through the presentation pack and I can't wait to hear it. Over to you, Amir. Thank you. Maybe you're on mute, Amir. Yeah, you're on mute.
Yeah, Amir, I believe you're on mute. Could you please unmute yourself? Angela, I believe
Could you hear me?
Yes, yes, perfect.
Okay, so
Thank you.
Thank you. So I would like to take this opportunity and talk about one unconventional intelligence that probably would be very useful in many industries and businesses. I am going to showcase some of our recent studies and talk about it. It's called evolutionary intelligence. So unlike most other AI that we know, which are human-centric, like networks, deep learning, natural language processing, etc., evolutionary intelligence simply follows Darwinian natural selection. And the intelligence comes from nature in general, not only human. So here I mostly talk about some of the problems that probably we all face in industry: large scale problem like big data, high dimensional problem, incremental problem, many objective problem, and generally data analytics problem. So let me pass through this algorithm. So generally I want to mention we have two kinds of algorithm: mathematical algorithm or nature-inspired algorithm. So simply this evolutionary intelligence, it's following the principle of Darwinian natural selection. It tries to improve any system that you have using some evolutionary mechanism. So in nature, we define it as crossover and mutation. And here we can again name them crossover and mutation. So these are not a new algorithm. Boeing or Hitachi, they use this algorithm for a long time. And these algorithms have some advantages. So because these modern systems and all these business systems and industry systems are system of different software. They are not, they don't have explicit mathematical formula. We cannot simply use mathematical algorithm to solve this problem. So we usually go toward derivative-free algorithms like these evolutionary intelligence. And these algorithms, not only they are powerful and they can solve any problem, but they are slow in compared with mathematical optimization. If we use them blindly and we don't use any other extra information. So let me pass through this. So we use this algorithm for even very, very large scale projects. So this project that you can see, we try to optimize, actually minimizing the cost of this project. This was a 35-story tower. So we can see we could use this algorithm and the level of optimization is very high here. And usually for real world problems, whenever you have a system and it hasn't been optimized with evolutionary algorithm, we usually get something between 5 to 10% improvement. So that's why to most industry and businesses, we say, okay, if you have your system, your software, your all this scheduling, dispatching, everything, we try to improve it, and we suggest them maybe we get the benefit from the improvement. So it's usually we get 5 to 10% improvement in the results. So one special case you can see it's happening in Australia. There is a problem for casting a scheduling problem. So they couldn't find solve this problem up to even 2,000 variables with two well-known algorithms, probably you know GLPK and Simplex. But after using evolutionary algorithm and tailoring this algorithm for this specific problem, we will be able to solve this up to 1 billion problems, which is unbelievable. We want to know how much is a billion. It's 4 gigabytes only for one solution, and 440 gigabytes only for initial population that we needed. sorry, it seems there is narrative here. So, okay. So the other interesting problem that we all face in industry and businesses is our problem is usually dynamic. For example, the number of variables change during time. Businesses change, the production change, the number of items in business change. So every time we need to do the process from scratch. So what we propose here in this paper, you can see I listed here. We said if we have an incremental optimization problem, how we can use previous information or experiences into this new process. So we got a very good result, and we could solve it using only evolutionary algorithm. The other things that we are really dealing with in real world problem is many objective problems. For example, if you want to have a customer satisfaction, maximum benefit, maximum reliability, I don't know, minimizing risk, maximizing quality. We want to do all of these things at the same time, yes? So this is defined as a multi-objective or many objectives problem. So we recently actually published a paper and tried to compare 18 different approaches of evolutionary algorithm. And these are the only algorithms that can deal with these types of problems. So if you're dealing with these problems, one of the best choices to solve these problems is evolutionary algorithm. Actually, there is a X Prize challenge for finding the best policies for all countries in the world. So we actually entered that competition, and we used evolutionary algorithm, and eventually we ranked among the top 10. We didn't win the grand prize of $500,000, but at least we could reach the top 10, and only with help of evolutionary algorithm. We try to optimize reduce the number of daily new cases, and also optimize the stringency of the planned intervention. And these are not new things. MIT Review recently wrote an op-ed about it and said, neural network has garnered all the headlines, but a much more powerful approach is waiting on the wing. So I think it's a very good approach if you have a real business problem. And another advantage of using AI for solving your problem is it provides you an explicit model. Actually, most other AI or machine learning that it gives you a computer program or black box model, but this gives you explicit model. That's why most businesses are interested to work with this, since they can see what's going on in the model. And let me cut to the end. And these are some of my new prizes. And I can skip that. And this is my email. If you really like to see more about evolutionary intelligence, and you think you have a problem that AI can help to solve, I would be happy if you reach me out. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Amir. It's been really interesting, and congratulations for winning ranking as a top 10 even though you mentioned you didn't get the prize, I think the work is very meaningful, and I think it is hugely important because a lot of people are criticizing or raising concerns about black box model in machine learning, and explainability, transparency is so important.
Yeah, exactly.
Because to gain the trust from business and the community and stakeholders, it is very, very positive outcome that actually you achieved. And thank you so much for sharing for this amazing project. I'm looking forward to hearing more great outcome from yourself and your team. I think this really wraps up nicely today's topic about how AI will shift the customer experience to the next level. And I'd like to thank our amazing panelists again, to Ruby Wolff from Aramex, CIO and CEO, and William Yeoh from Deakin University, Associate Professor, and Oleg Kravets from the Travel Corporation Global Head of Data and Analytics, and Amir Gandoni from University of Technology, Sydney, Professor of Data Science. And I did a moderation today. My name is Angela Kim from Teachers Health Fund, Head of Analytics and AI, also Global Head of Education for Women in AI. I hope you enjoyed the session today, and I'm passing the stage to Bhavana. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Angela, firstly, for curating this wonderful panel discussion. We definitely learned a lot, and I'm sure a lot of our audience mates could have really benefited from this discussion. So thank you once again, Angela, for that. Thank you, Ruby. Thank you, Amir. Thank you, William, and thank you, Oleg. Having all of you on the screen, it really just gave that notch to the World AI Show that, what a conclusion it is turning out to be. So thank you once again for that.
Are we going to do any group photo?
We would love to. Why not? Let's screenshot. Why not? So at the count of 3, 2, 1, when I say let's all, what would you like to do? Would you like to do
Yes.
All right, at the count of 3, 2, 1. Great. So I've got the screenshot, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for that wonderful energy as well. Thank you.
Thank you,
guys.
Happy. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Pleasure. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.